When you come back from inspection and they find a little hole in your frame, it's never just a little hole. Now I just need the truck to last a couple more years. So, after getting the bed off, you can see the cross members. There's really nothing left of them. They're paper thin and will all need replaced. Morning, everybody. Day 2, I had to take the day off of work because the bed frame supports are not readily available and I got to get the truck back on the road. So I just decided to make them myself. The ends of the bed over top of the fender wells actually weren't that bad. It was in the center of the bed that's really bad. So I just decided to make them myself, and of course, using all Mark Captain stuff here. And right now I'm using the MiG 130, set at about 50 amps. And I'll show you a little bit of weld here, and then you can see what we're doing. So you can see here the cross member pieces I started making. Actually found that it was easier to make them and weld them together in separate pieces because of some of the bends and the cutouts. I think I used 10 gauge. They're certainly stronger than what the factory provided and will probably outlast the rest of the truck. But that's what I had, so that's what I went with, and they actually turned out pretty good. So what you see here basically is just getting everything lined up and putting a couple good tacks on each side. Once you do that, you can go back over top and weld everything in solid. One thing you do want to think about, though, when you do this kind of stuff, especially on vehicles that have been oiled like they are here in the Northeast, is make sure you have a water hose close by or some fire extinguishers. A lot of times you do some of this stuff and, inside the frame rails are filled with old oil, which I've had happen on several vehicles. So that's a precaution you want to take for sure. Okay, time to run the little cut 50 here and cut out a few more pieces. Now I happen to have the cut 50 from our Captain. Great little plasma cutter. I mention it in just about every video I have. But it's great for stuff like this. You can cut up to about a 1/2 inch thick with it. Really good on this 10 gauge material. It's like a hot knife through butter. Nice clean cuts, no slag. You can really make some nice cuts with a straight edge, and perfect for this kind of stuff, and just a great tool to have in the shop. And so here, using the MiG 130 from our Captain, one of my favorite welders from them. It's a great little flux core welder. Does an awesome job for stuff like this. I made all this yesterday, which was kind of tricky, but it worked. And made that. Now I got to fix this whole corner because it's completely rotted out. And then I got to fix this one right here on the back side. So what you're looking at here is actually the front mount of the bed. It was completely gone. And I had to cut a hole through the top of the bed as well. So I'll be patching that up top. You can see some of the crossmember material here, nothing left. And again, the same 10 gauge material after making some patterns. Welding these pieces together, I now have a nice new sturdy bed to put back on the truck. Well, the good news is the frame's not terrible. I do have one patch to do on the inside of this rail, which I'll have to drop the tank tomorrow. Or so I thought. Like most rust repairs, little holes turn into big ones, and basically the inside of the frame was cracked all the way from the bottom to the top. So what I ended up doing was actually removing a lot more material than I originally thought I was going to, but it made for a much better patch. So again, on the inside of the frame, not that big of a deal, but we want to make sure that it's nice and solid. So I removed all the crumbs from inside the frame, which was pretty well packed. And as you can see here, tacked in some nice solid patches. And you'll see here in the next clip that I went ahead and finished welding in the patches. I had some really good solid material to weld to, which is always nice. Truck should last for many years to come. So now with the bed back on, the last thing I need to do is make the patch for the top of the bed. You'll see here that I have everything cleaned off and it's just roughed in, of course. I use a piece of cardboard to make my pattern and then trace it out, remove the rest of the material around it, and then go ahead and use the plasma cutter to make the patch. And once that's done, it's pretty much just welded in place. Start off with some small tacks because, of course, the bed's thin material, and then weld in over top. Make for a nice solid patch again. And you'll see here a little bit of bed liner, and I just threw a regular bolt in. I wasn't going to buy the new bed bolts. Good enough for me, and hope she lasts many more years.